space here. And now that Dawn's sitting, we can get started. Welcome everybody to this evening's event. I just can't believe this. It's a pretty momentous event here to have these speakers here, and we're just so grateful to have them and to help us kick off our 30th year celebration for OSR. It's pretty amazing, and as I look around the room, I'm just seeing people that reflect all those 30 years, and so I'm just really touched by that at the moment. In fact, before we kind of get started, if we could just take just a quick minute, I want our guests here to have just a sense of who's in the room. And I know that we have current students from our cohorts OSR 15 and 16. Could you just indicate who you are and give them a sense of our current students? Wow. Mark's still a current student.
Is there anybody here I haven't worked with?
And I really wish we had been able to have a bigger venue. There were so many people who wanted to be here tonight. Because we weren't able to accommodate everybody, we are going to film it. So that's great. We have a lot of alumni in the room as well. Can you give me just a hand raising if you're an alumni? And I'm not going to go cohort by cohort, but I do have to ask one cohort that's here to just stand, and that would be OSR 1. And then if I could just, I'm OSR 3, if you can believe it, and I just have to point out one person, and that is Jeanette Monahan. So she got me started in this whole field, and it's so amazing, it just seems like the other day. So I got working with Jeanette Monahan at the University of Washington. She said, you know about this graduate program? I just went through this. Next thing I know is meeting with Don Schwartz. So anyway, it's fun to see who's in the room. Welcome. So tonight we have these 5 very famous men who I'm mostly going to let introduce themselves. I'm going to let them loose on you. And our hope tonight was to create an event that was a very conversational, relaxed, as though we got to walk into their living room and hear what they were saying. So we're trying to create this little space here. We're giving them a loose structure, and so we called it in the beginning here from 6:30 to 7-ish. We're going to have them talk about the beginning, how they got into this field, what led them into the field, what sustained them, just some thoughts and reflections about that. The middle section, we've asked them to tell some stories. Stories that really resonate and that are memorable for them, might be interesting for us to hear. And then we want to also have them look at the future. So based on all those reflections, what are they seeing as they look outward? And then we want to also leave time, of course, for you. So we've left time for questions from the audience as well. Tonight we're joined by Don Schwartz, of course. Hopefully most people know the folks here, but because we have some new students who may not. Don's the founder of the OSR program, and the reason that we have almost 500 graduates now from the OSR graduate program. I think that deserves a hand. Marv Weinsborg, who is we have many authors here and who just taught us a whole lot. Roger Harrison, Edgar Schein, who was a late entry here and who was willing to join us tonight, and I sent that out. Everybody has been so excited and pleased that you could join us. And Jeff Bellman. So Kathy Ryan a moment ago was telling me that how very momentous this is to actually gather these folks together in one room. So I think we're actually really experiencing a special evening tonight. So looking forward to it. And I'm going to hand the mic back over to you all and let you engage in conversation. Yeah. Oh, one other thing. Jenny and I are going to be kind of in the back, helping them a little bit with timekeeping. So if you see us doing this, and I know, we're running a little late, but this may be one of those events that you won't be too mad if we go over a little bit. And you can start filming.
You can help with timekeeping too. Put all the responsibility, just tell us. I'll start since I started.
Sure.
I didn't know anything about OD when I was in graduate school at the University of Oregon getting a master's degree in international finance, and that degree is very helpful in OD, sure. And I was guided to it. I didn't know what to call it. I was guided to it by my employers. I was in the corporate world, and people moved me in the direction of management training first, and then and then all of a sudden, I never thought I'd be an OD person at all. I never imagined that I would be. So, but I got interested in maybe in the late 60s, 69, 68, something like that was my first interest. Really novice, like a lot of you who just beginning the program at OSR. Yeah, that's when I got introduced. Not academically, find a master's program in 1968 in OD. If there was one, I wouldn't have been interested anyway. So, yeah.
Should we use these?
Yeah, I was going to
use
step
them.
in. If you would, if you'd use them, and if you'd use them fairly close, I think probably most of the people in the audience will be able to hear, but I don't think the video will be able to pick it up if they're not getting the microphone. Thanks.
Good.
Okay, I didn't get into OD. I was a professor. I was recruited out of a social psychology program to join a school of management by Doug McGregor. And so the biggest transition I made was to leave social psychology and go to a school of management, because MIT at that time was trying to be very discipline-based in contrast to Harvard, which was very case-based. And so I was there to do research on social psychology, leadership, etc. And Doug McGregor, soon after I got there, suggested, and I should say sent me, to NTL, because I did not go particularly willingly, but you know, when your mentor and boss sort of suggests it. So he probably saw some rough edges in me that needed polishing. So I ended up, which at that time was a 3-week program of tea groups, role playing, community exercise, the whole thing, 3 weeks at Bethel. Hated it intensely at the beginning because it really, I was a research psychologist, and what the hell was all this nonsense about sitting around, no leadership, you know, having to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. And I had a Gestalt trainer who wanted us to identify where we felt things in our body. At that point, I either didn't know or it didn't matter. It was not a high priority. But what happened was, as the group got going, I began to realize that there was a huge disconnect between everything I knew as a research psychologist and what was actually going on in this group. And then I began to realize that what was going on in the group was really pretty interesting, and in many ways more interesting than reading articles about what goes on in groups that were done with college sophomores. So I got hooked and came back as an intern, and really got going in NTL as a group dynamics trainer, stuck with that for about 15, 20 years, and in that process met people like Dick Beckhard, who were really interested in organizational consulting. At that point, I was still just interested in groups. I didn't know much about organizations, except at Sloan, I had to learn how to teach managers. So I learned a lot from the